Hello and welcome. You're listening to Dirty Beans, the truth behind Canberra coffee shops. An episode of Listening to Canberra Voices produced by the Faculty of Arts and Design at the University of Canberra 2024. I'm your host Sophie.
And I'm your other host, Isabel. We'd also like to acknowledge the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people who have owned the land we are producing this episode on and cultivated it for years.
Hello and welcome to Listening to Canberra Voices. I am your host today, Sophie Foley, and we are doing an episode called Dirty Beans, the truth behind Canberra coffee shops.
I'm Isabel Bauer. I'm your second presenter for this podcast, and today we are joined by a very special guest, Dillon McElroy, a barista from Nomad coffee shop on campus. Tell us about yourself, Dillon.
Hello. Basically, I make coffee, and that's probably the only really interesting thing. I have a dog. I like to cook. Oh, I study psychology. I'm in my third year, and that's quite fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Psychology, that's very cool.
Yep.
So we'll start off with just like a base because you're our barista at the coffee shop. So what got you into that?
I actually got into coffee making because, honestly, I've been drinking coffee since I was probably 6. It's been bad. So I've kind of just gotten into an addiction, I guess. So that's probably one thing. And basically I got the job the day after my first day at uni because they had a flyer and I just applied. And then the next day I got a text message. So I went in, did a trial on the spot, and then they said, do you want the job? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
Fun.
it all just happened very quick.
Yes, snappy. Straight to it.
And I've been there for nearly 2 years now. Yeah.
Right, so you're like an expertise at Nomad.
I don't know.
Have a bit of a history there.
I have a history there, yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Yeah, so do you have any funny stories or highlighting moments?
I mean, there's a funny story each day. We just, we have such a close-knit team at work that I guess, there's just way too much banter sometimes, and it's just, it's very funny. Our cameras at work don't have sound, but if they had sound, you could probably, clip the audios and, probably post them to TikTok or something. It's quite intense. Yeah.
Could you give us a rundown of the usual customer that comes to Nomad?
The usual, what? The archetype of, our... Yeah,
Yes.
okay. It's usually someone that orders a flat white on skim milk, regular size, and they usually have a keep cup, and they're usually with someone while they're ordering. It's usually a staff member, I would say. I can't really predict what a student would order, but if someone with a lanyard comes up and I'm just okay, no, they're probably going to order a flat white because that's just what people do.
Yeah, no, that's that age group.
Yes.
And that fits the kind of stereotype of an average Canberran who attends some of these coffee shops, and especially coffee chains. How do you think Nomad kind of differentiates itself from some of those coffee chains and kind of differentiates its customers from that typical Canberran archetype?
I mean, because I guess we're at uni, an independent coffee shop is one thing, but when you're an independent coffee shop at uni, it's a whole completely different thing. I guess compared to those chain, I guess from how do I say it? Chain coffee shops like Starbucks and Gloria Jeans and whatnot. There's a reason I feel in Australia why, and in Canberra why, for example, there's no Starbucks in Canberra. And that's because I feel that in Australia, there's just this consensus that independent coffee and independent coffee shops are just superior. And I think that's due to a lot of stuff, the staffing, the beans used. I couldn't name what beans Starbucks use, but I can name what my local cafe uses because, I don't know, I'm just a coffee nerd like that. But, yeah. But also, I guess with an independent coffee shop at uni, there's a lot more liberty. With chain coffee shops, I know the staffing can be quite structured. Would you say McDonald's is a chain coffee? They have McCafe.
Yeah.
The staffing and the set schedules and whatnot are quite standardized and hierarchical also. But at an independent coffee shop like ours especially, like the rosters are different each week. The beans we use are just, they're Canberra based as well. So we outsource 2 before 10. And independent coffee shops like us, I guess, because I know 2 before 10 uses like every single packaging is quite like it's biodegradable and compostable as well. And I feel like at uni that's just quite nice to have that liberty to be able to do that and to outsource that kind of initiative.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like even people in our age, in our generation, they look for that too. Because UC has so many coffee shops on campus, do you ever feel that there's competition?
It's playful. Like we've on Instagram, like we follow the other coffee shops and sometimes we'll tag them and stuff. And there was one instance when Oscar's, because you know how it's all the way over there. Well, no, the people listening can't like see where I'm pointing, but like there's quite a distance between Nomad and Oscar's. So when one morning we saw an Oscar's sign right in front of our sign, initially we were like, okay, rude. But then like our boss photoshopped like a funny meme onto it and was like, our donuts are cheaper and better. And it was just like, and then they reposted it, and it's all playful because at the end of the day, like, I feel like we have like nothing but empathy because they pay the same rent. They deal with the same sort of demographic that we have. Like the demographic at uni, if you're in a customer service job, for example, like at Share Tea or even at Nomad, like the customer demographic is so binary. Like it's either staff or students, really, and like the occasional visitor, which makes it difficult to try and like find that balance. So they deal with a lot of the same stuff that we do. So it makes it, I wouldn't say there's competition. Like we don't go poaching their customers. Like sometimes we'll like go and have a little look around and just like, for example, before I worked at Nomad, like I went to Mizuna and stuff. Like there's no negative attitudes at all, for sure.
That's actually really surprising.
And I'm not just saying that.
Because just being positive.
Yeah, like I wasn't told to say this.
No.
Like, yeah.
But wow, that's really surprising. I thought that it would even create like that villain because there's so
like
many
factions
people.
and whatnot.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
war on campus.
Like I was scared to tell you I go to Oscars like pretty frequently.
Okay, no, that's not okay. No, I'm kidding. No.
Blasphemous.
Anyway, so now we know that you guys aren't enemies with everyone on campus. How do you stand out from them? How do you get more business?
What Nomad is you notice that with Mizuna, Oscars, Coffee Grounds, they all have seat-in and like table service. Our place is quite grab and go. It's for like those people where you have like a quick 5-minute break. Hopefully the line isn't too long, where you can come grab your coffee, have a nice chat with the barista and then leave. Well, not leave, but like move on. Not move on, like grab your coffee and then go away. Like, yeah, so it's an espresso bar. So that's, I'm pretty sure I'm not sure, I think Grounded can be a bit similar, but I haven't been to Grounded, so I don't know. But yeah, no, we rely on those sort of grab and go customers that are just sort of like, not in a rush, but just like quick and easy. You don't have to like specify whether you're having here or whatever. Like we pretty much only do takeaway. So yeah, so that's kind of our niche. It's a grab and go espresso bar. Yeah.
Nice, right.
And how do you feel that Nomad differentiates itself from the other coffee chains on campus? I know you said that there's no like rivalry and it's playful, but in your time as both a student and a barista, what have you noticed Nomad does better?
It does better.
I've had your cookies.
They are quite good. Our cookies are quite good. I feel like the price point is something that we try to leverage because I can't speak to the other places, but I know that like because rent can be quite high and since COVID, not many students have come to campus really anymore. And so demand is quite low, but prices keep rising up. So we try to keep our prices affordable, but it can be hard.
Do you have any interesting coffee shops that you're a fan of?
Well, there's a place, because I live north side Gungahlin, and there's a place called Sunday Cafe, and they use 7 Miles Black Mountain coffee beans, and I just love like the chocolatey notes in their coffee beans. So yeah, it really does, for me, like depend on the bean that's used, and yeah, like I like Ono coffee beans. 2 before 10 I like as well.
I don't like Honor at all.
Really?
Yeah, Toby's
Have you
the
tried
steak,
like their strawberry candy? I think it's called the strawberry.
the raspberry candy?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I used to work in a cafe and I've tried it.
Is it just not?
Not
Do you find it too
fan.
sweet?
No, I actually find it too bitter.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, random. I know this isn't a cut in, but wow, Honor and 2 before 10.
I know they're like complete rivals, but I do like Honor coffee as well.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. So what do you think of chain coffee shops? We've touched on it and Macca's and stuff, but
Yeah.
versus independent businesses, do you believe
In
one is better than
Australia?
the other? Just in general.
I think like in Australia, I feel like at an independent coffee shop is just a lot more room to be able to like approach it how you want, I guess. Like especially if you're a business owner, like as I said before, chain coffee shops, like there's like set standards and rules, etc. And I know because I've worked at 2 coffee shops and they've both been great experiences. Independent. I haven't worked at a chain coffee shop, so I don't know what the working environment is like. But I can say that if you ask like any Canberran, they'll probably say that they prefer like Piccolo, the place Piccolo over Gloria Jeans or Coffee Guru, for example. Like not to name and shame, but yeah, I can't name the beans that they use, to be honest. But like if they're using like an Australian, like locally sourced bean, it just makes it, I don't know, there's just something nice about it to know that you're drinking something that's like, for example, like 2 before 10 beans, like they have a very ethical way of like roasting, etc. Like there's contact with the roasters and they try to ethically source the beans.
Do you think there's a reason why? And what do you think the reason is that people, and Canberrans specifically, prefer independent coffee shops over chain?
Just the quality and the consistency. I'd say like if you ask like any person in Canberra, like they'd probably say that the quality is either good or really good. But with chain coffee shops, I'm not sure. Like I've had Gloria Jeans before and it was just, yeah.
Yeah. Even like this is probably going to sound pretty lame, but love, there's nothing behind Gloria Jeans where you just like kind of hire a person into a chain and they just follow a recipe and they
exactly.
Like I know that sounds so random, but even
no it makes sense because I feel like there's a lot more personality with independent coffee shops and it just makes you want to order from there. Like I feel like some people like ritualise getting coffee, like I know I do, so it's not just about ordering and then going away. Like you want to be in a nice environment and like in that communal space, which is like something that I like and why I still go out to coffee even though I can get it for free at work and whatnot.
Would you say it's also attributed to the people manning those independent coffee shops?
Absolutely, yeah. I feel like especially today, like there's so many places that try to prioritize like ethical practices, like in terms of labor and like coffee sourcing and like packaging, etc.
Wow, nice.
Kind of veering it off into different territory, how would you what would you describe and see the typical barista at Nomad like? Weird.
No. Strange. No. Just quirky, like nice, like very personable. That's the first thing that we look for is like being personable, nice, approachable, because it's the main thing. Like we want people to feel welcomed. Like we don't want someone stern, very like a dictator sort of vibe. Like we don't want that. Yeah.
Kind of going off into different territory, what is your go-to coffee order and why is it what it is?
Ooh, I drink lately, and I've been getting all the other staff at work onto it, is the iced long black. Like, especially because it's coming more hot, it's just so refreshing. Sometimes I add oat milk into it. But if I go out for coffee, it's usually an oat latte with honey in it.
Yum.
The honey, depending on the bean as well, it adds like a really nice note. Like at my local place, they make like the best coffee I've ever had, and it's just so sweet and yummy. Yeah.
Yum. That sounds like, I feel like if you order a coffee, you should ask the barista first. That sounds delicious.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So with Australian cafe culture, like, you tend to close a lot earlier than in, say, for example, America. Why is that?
Staffing, like wage allocation, I guess. Like, also because the demand, like especially at uni, it's just not really there at that time. Like, you get the odd people that come, because we close at like 4, which I guess is, you know, in between late and early. But during the summer semester and winter term, we tend to close a bit earlier just because that demand isn't there, like being at a uni. But also, I guess, like, well, I mean, cost of living as well. Like, it's, some places just can't afford to stay open that much longer. And I feel like we're quite lucky to stay until 4, and we still get those, like, customers, like, mostly students that come in that time that get, like, their iced chais or iced matchas. Matcha is so big on with students here, it's crazy. I feel like it's just become like this culture, matcha culture.
I love matcha.
Matcha's good. I prefer other places matcha, but ours is alright. It's a bit
Like
sweet.
Oscars? Or?
I haven't tried Oscars matcha. I've only ever had their falafel rolls.
Oh, they're so good.
They are quite
Everything
good.
at Oscars is really yummy. Sorry.
I've heard that their coffee is
average.
Yeah,
it is. It's pretty average, but their food is insane.
Do you like coffee grounds or no? Well, they use Honor coffee, and you don't like.
I don't like Honor coffee very much.
I haven't tried grounded or. When I first came to uni, I first to like go to Mizuna and like pay like $9 like for a regular coffee, and it was just like, and I had no idea that Nomad existed until I walked past there and saw the flyer, and I was like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is Mizuna the one downstairs?
It is. It's like the cute little
Yeah,
place.
I do love Mizuna. I think that's one of.
I've never
that's my
eaten
favorite
there,
coffee
though.
on campus. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
controversial.
I know,
Maybe I
I'm
should just like
interviewing
leave.
Yeah, yeah, me.
I'll just walk
You're
out of
done.
here.
Well, speaking of, we should probably wrap up today's session. So thank you so much for coming, Dillon. That was really insightful and
No
really
worries.
interesting to
It's
get
my
a bit
pleasure.
deeper look into coffee culture on campus. So
And barista life.
Yeah, and I think everyone learnt a little bit of something today, and it was, yeah, just great interviewing you, and as Sophie said, learning more about the campus coffee culture.
For sure.
So, yeah.
you're listening to Dirty Beans, the truth behind Canberra coffee shops, and thanks for tuning in.